Welcome to Home with Simone. My name is Simone, and a huge thank you to each and every single one of you that continuously supports my channel. I appreciate you all. Today, I'm taking you with me to Home Depot because we're doing a DIY. As some of you know, I have been refurnishing my home, and the DIYer in me, if I can't find something, I just have to make it. So first, went on a little bit of a hunt to buy liquid nails. Never used liquid nails before. I don't know why I thought it was something super fancy. It's just a really strong, or supposed to be a really strong bonding agent. So pick this up, $11.73, threw it in the cart, on to the next section, which is where I find my builder's tubes. Love these. I use this to make Frank, which is my 7-foot tall nutcracker. Ever since I discovered builder's tubes, I have been dying for another opportunity to use them on a project at home, and I am happy that this is a great opportunity. We grabbed 2 of them, high-fived the mama, and then we headed straight down to look for wooden dowels. This was an epic fail, couldn't find anything. Thank goodness for a plan B, so I ran straight over to the HVAC section where I found these foam pieces. But because of the size of the foam pieces, I had to do a 360 and go right back to the builder's tube and get the smaller builder's tubes. Had to get the 8-inch ones. Then my mom and I realized they're not truly 8 inches. Some are bigger, some are smaller. So we took out the measuring tape, got it done, picked the right ones. Here I am, struggling home. I'm not struggling, teasing. Coming home with my little wagon and all of my pieces. In case you guys haven't figured it out yet, we're making a table. Specifically a bar table. So the top of the bar table, I opted to get the pine board, and this was $39.48. There is a cheaper alternative where you can just get the wood cut on your own, but I didn't have any other projects, so it made better sense for me to spend a couple extra dollars and get exactly what I needed. I got 2 of the 8-inch builder's tubes. They were $11.30 for a total of $22.60. In total, I have 7 of these foam pieces, and they were $5.78 each for a total of $40.46. I also got a pack of the corner braces. They were $3.98, and it comes with 4 pieces in there. And then finally, I also picked up the liquid nails. Now, I don't think this is the real liquid nails. It's not the brand. It's just the Lepage No More Nails, all-purpose multi-usage compound. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But that was $11.73. So the total of everything came to $133.62. The foam bits were really easy to cut. However, I recommend getting a new blade when you're doing this because my X-Acto knife, this one has been through the wars. And so it made it a little difficult. But either way, try to cut it as evenly as you can so that both pieces, if you need to do patchwork, they align well and it makes it a seamless transition. Here's my pile of all of my tubes that I cut. So in total, I had 7 of them and we cut everything up. So now there is 14 of them. Most of my DIYs, I normally just think of something and in the spur of the moment, just do it and it comes out amazing and I'm happy and everything is perfect. However, this one I felt a little bit of pressure because I didn't want it to look like a arts and craft project. So I took out my sketchbook, I sketched everything that I needed, I put all of my measurements, and it made it really easy for me to make sure that I had everything. I also was able to visualize it, so it's perfect. I'm doing the height of my legs at 40 inches or 3 feet and 4 inches. Shallow's really tall, and I wanted him to have enough leg room on the bottom. If you have the power tools, I recommend to use that. This would have been like a 30-second cut, but me with my weak hands, they're not the way they used to be. Took a little bit longer to cut it, but that's okay. I got it cut and it was perfect and I'm really happy. So since both of them are now cut, I put the tabletop on top of it because I wanted to make sure that it's leveled. I want to make sure that I didn't have to go back and sand anything down. Grabbed my handy dandy leveler and placed it on 3 points. I placed it in the center of the table and then I placed it on the leg on the right hand, and I also placed it on the leg on the left hand. I wanted to make sure that it was leveled straight across. It was. Thank goodness I don't have to go back and do too much work. But if you look underneath, you can see that there is a portion on one of the legs that is not actually flat. So that I need to take care of, and I'm not too worried because I can do that when I apply the foam legs to it. But the length or the height I really like. To put the foam bits on, all you do is you peel off one section, get your builder's tube that you've cut down to size. You're going to attach the sticky part down and apply pressure to it. And then peel off that yellow piece. And that's it. Perfect. Now, there is a step that I missed. I didn't show you guys when I added the liquid nails. So what I did is on the other side of this, because remember, there's one part that has sticky and one part that doesn't. So on the other side of this, I just lifted that up and attached the liquid nails there. And that's how I did it, going right around. I did the rest off camera because it was really hard to film it and try to do it. And then I tied it with the same yellow bit that was on the sticky part of it, the adhesive part. I took that off and I tied it with it. At this point, guys, it's after midnight. I am completely exhausted. And I don't know why it is. I feel the need to always have to just complete everything that I'm doing. It's like there's no time frame. This is not a project that has to be done because I have a customer. No, this is just for me. But I always put so much pressure on myself. Anyways, the liquid glue was not doing what I thought liquid glue should do. So I stopped. I second guessed. I didn't finish the rest of it. And then I thought to myself, if the liquid glue needs a couple hours to actually dry, it makes sense for me just to take off all these yellow strings, do the entire thing, tie it, and let it dry overnight. So that's what I decided to do. I'm happy I stuck it out because now I've got both of my legs completed. You can see there's some big spaces there. It's okay. It will work itself out. I don't really like the liquid nails. I don't think I'm going to use it again. I probably used it wrong. Maybe it was wrong material, whatever. You can always use a hot glue gun or use whatever bonding agents you are most comfortable with. I also recommend, if you're doing exactly what I'm doing, to get 10 of the foam pieces, not 7, because I ran out of pieces and I had to do some patchwork. Thankfully, cutting everything as evenly as I can made it easy for the patchwork. But you see this big gap? This will all be taken care of, and you can see some patchwork on the bottom. So don't panic at this stage. I panicked a little bit, but considering I already made this, I'm telling you right now, if you're doing the same thing I did, don't panic at this stage. It gets a lot better from here. Had a couple hours sleep, and as always, I'm up bright and early, like I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. But anyways, the early bird catches the worm. So I'm getting as much hours as I can in the day to complete this project. Everything seemed to dry nicely. I mean, I don't recommend the bonding agent that I use. I think if you just used a glue stick, like a glue gun with some hot glue, that would have been fine. But to each their own. I wouldn't use this again. Maybe it's good for other projects, but definitely I wouldn't recommend it for this particular project. Now, remember how there's some spacing and there's some stuff going on from yesterday? Well, we're going to get that fixed today. That's why I said don't panic. My patched pieces, they look pretty decent, and I'm confident that I can hide it. The goal for this project is not for everything to look perfect. I do want it to have a little bit of imperfections. Clearly, it should look intentional. I don't want it to look like, oh, what did she do? But all of these extra spaces and stuff, that's going to be sorted out. And I don't like that this dried so white. I thought it was going to dry clear, but maybe because last night I just got desperate and I started piling on the glue, I wanted to make sure that it was going to stick. And I used the entire tube last night. I almost ran out, but I had just enough for both of the legs. We're going to go and take the drywall compound and I'm putting it in the middle area first, then running my fingers down and then covering the actual tube itself. This is what's correcting any of the errors that we made in the first steps that we did. So you see how now it's filling in those spaces nicely. That's exactly what you want to do. I try to get different angles for you guys. I always have the hardest time trying to get things that are larger than life on camera, but I did my best. So once this dried, I was on cloud 9. I thought you did a great job, gave myself a big old pat on the back. But guys, this is where the trouble started. This is where my whole life flashed before me and everything crumbled. Literally crumbled. After it dried, the drywall compound started to crumble right off of the tubes. Now, I don't know if it's because maybe I should have used some sort of a priming, something. I don't know what it is, but you know what? I made the mistake, so you don't make the mistake. I was a sacrificial lamb, and now you know, don't put the drywall directly on these tubes. And even though this was a blow to the ego and it set me back a little bit, I just dusted the dirt off my shoulders and said, okay, let's rethink. Go to plan B. So I decided to pull out my good old faithful paint, the last little bit, the last quarter of a container of paint that I have left, and painted it. Then I looked under the sink and I found my stone spray paint. I didn't even know if I had enough because I had one can and I really thought that it was half a can. It ended up being a full can. I was so excited and that's all I needed. So I spray painted the legs after I painted them and it turned out stunning. It's beautiful. It's even nicer than I initially had envisioned it to be. The level of relief I felt when I finished the legs, and they look stunning. I know it's not all positioned properly. I just rest the wood on top of it so I can paint that, and then once that's dried, I'll sort everything out and make it look a little bit more presentable. But let's focus on these legs. I am so happy. It came out the way it came out. The table is done. I love it so much, guys. I'm really happy with the outcome of it. The only thing I haven't done is I did not connect the legs to the tabletop as yet because I'm waiting until I get the bar stools. I did make this bar height table about 4 inches taller than the regular measurements. So I want to make sure that it's not too tall and doesn't look ridiculous when I put the bar stools there. If I need to trim it down, I can go ahead and trim it down how much ever inches I need to. Then I will go and attach the legs to the top of the table for a permanent finish. But for now, this is how it's going to stay, and I really do like it. I did style this area as well. But before I show you the top of it, the bar stools I'm going for are the backless ones so that the stool itself can be pushed underneath the table when not being used. My space is a small space, so I do have to make sure that I maximize every square inch. And having the stools pushed under it, I think is going to not only be aesthetically pleasing, but it's a great use of space, and it allows my dining room, living room area to still feel open and light. Now, this is how I styled it, guys. So I took the vase that was on my dining room table and I put it on here. It's such a beautiful vase. I really love it. I got this from HomeSense. These flowers I've had for quite some time. I got them from Michael's a while back, but it's so beautiful. I love how it looks over here. The colors are fantastic. And then I found this mirror, which I am obsessed with. I do love anything that kind of resembles stone. I just like the way that that looks. I like the feeling of it. And this is how it turned out. Imagine the bar stools under there, just how stunning it's going to be. Oh, I made a change on my bookshelf. I found these boxes. There's 2 of them. One's a lighter color, it's towards the front door, and then the other one is this dark one. And I put it here. I got that from HomeSense. I do have to show you guys some other items that I got. I'm standing in this awkward corner of my home because I'm trying to hide the coffee table and the dining room chairs. I did find dining room chairs, guys, and a coffee table. If you want to see those, stay tuned for another video because I'm going to go ahead and show you those finds and a couple of the other little things that I got as well. But for now, this is the space. Thank you so much for spending the time with me, and I hope I inspired you all to think outside the box, get creative, and have fun. I'll see you all in the very next video.